Conclusion of my speech, I'd like the audience to have a general understanding of operational risk management and why it is necessary. Has it ever occurred to anyone that when you see people who work in an industrial location, that there are not more missing fingers, toes, or even an eye? This is because of operational risk management. Operational risk management is an enormous program instituted by all companies to include the military to protect all the assets at its disposal. In the following, I will cover the 6 steps involved with operational risk management with a brief overview of why each step needs to be followed in order for the assets of the company to have unnecessary risk of loss. Let's begin with step 1, hazard identification. Hazard identification has 3 steps to it: task analysis, basic sources, and operations analysis. In task analysis, we look at our past mishaps to detect high-impact issues. We also ask personnel what is important to them. With our basic sources, they're going to include experts and references, inspections, reports, interviews and audits, and hazard analysis tools, which is what we're going to take all our sources and put into. Then we have operations analysis. We're going to make initial priorities. We're going to detect overload and fatigue, and we're going to guide allocation of resources. Step 2 is going to be risk assessment, which has 3 parts: exposure, severity, and probability. In exposure, it's about time, proximity, volume, and repetition. When we have severity, the 4 parts to severity are catastrophic, complete failure, death, or loss of a system; critical, with major degradation, injury, illness, and major damage; moderate, with minor degradation, injury, illness, or damage; and negligible, less than minor degradation, injury, illness, or damage. And then we have our probability, which has 5 steps to that, which is frequent, where it occurs often; likely, it occurs several times; occasional, where it occurs sporadically; seldom, it could possibly occur; and unlikely, it occurs rarely or not even at all. Part 3 is where we analyze our risk control measures. We have 3 parts of this, where we identify control options, determine the control effects, and prioritize risk control measures. Identifying control options is where we reject, avoid, delay, transfer, spread, compensate, or reduce all of our options. And then we determine the control effects. What's the impact on the probability, the impact on the severity, and the control costs. Then we prioritize our risk control measures, where we focus on the maximum effect, and we use a benchmark for our existing controls. Step 4 is where we make our control decisions. We select risk control, which is where we're going to select the right combination, and we're going to evaluate the cost versus the benefits. Then we're going to make the right decision. We're going to accept the risk when the benefit outweighs the cost, and we're going to reject the risk when the cost outweighs the benefits. And then step 5 is where we're going to implement the risk control. We're going to have 3 steps of this. We're going to make implementations clear, establish accountability, and provide support. When we make implementation clear, we involve the personnel, and we provide specific guidance. When we establish accountability, we use motivation, and we create a positive incentive. And then we provide support, where we avoid common problems, and we provide positive feedback. Step 6 is where we supervise and review. With its 3 parts, which is supervise, review, and feedback. When we supervise, we have to maintain the schedule, and we have to correct ineffective controls. Then we review everything, where the cost within budget, where the cost trends favorable, and then the feedback, where we cross-tell our successes and failures, and then we take all that and we input that into an established database. Now that you know the operational risk management process, let's try to apply it to our everyday lives. I've given you a 6-step process in which encompasses operational risk management. Now let's see why it's necessary. We rely on this method not only to keep personnel safe, but also to keep the assets at our disposal working properly. Without this process, the losses would outweigh the benefits, resulting in catastrophic disasters and fiscal responsibilities. This would affect the consumer in several ways, other than products costing more, but insurance rates would climb astronomically, which would put less money in your pocket. After all this, I can certainly be assured that you can understand the importance of operational risk management.